Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of May 14th, 2018. My name is Trey, this is the Full Spectrum, and let's get started. We start off this week with Momiji no Kisetsu, Chapter 1, which is part of the new Jumpstart series, Cherry Blossom Falls, Maple Rises. I really liked this, by the way. This was a really enjoyable first chapter of just straight manga, let alone a Jumpstart. And I definitely want to keep reading more. To give a basic summary, I'm going to try giving more basic summaries this week. We get to meet Kuramichi Momiji. And his brother was a professional shogi player. And he wants to be as good as his brother, but he just can't seem to be, no matter how hard he tries. And after his brother's death, it seems like there's no hope for him. And he winds up meeting Icho, his brother's disciple, his brother's student, and she winds up taking him on as a student. And over the course of this first chapter, which is a pretty long first chapter, I'll stretch the imagination, but I still really liked it. Over the course of this first chapter, you get to see Kuramichi trying different things, and, trying to beat Icho, and having a rival by the name of Watanuki, who just completely, destroys him every time they play, and hates him, and doesn't want to have anything to do with him. And we get to see Kuramichi not only struggling with the loss of his brother, who very, very clearly was somebody very important to him, but also his complete inability to play this sport that he wants to play to be close to his brother. And so, you get to this moment of they're at the competition with the 30 days that Momiji is supposed to take to learn Shogi from Icho, and everybody's like, why is he here with her? And he decides he's not gonna tell everybody that he's been learning from her because he doesn't want her reputation to get shot. And she just tells everybody she's his master, and everybody's shocked. Watanuki's mad, and then she tells him to go out there and go for his own style of Shogi. And throughout the whole chapter, you've had these fallen leaves all over the shogi board because Momiji can't see what he's doing through his own failures. He's so focused on how much he's failing that he's not focusing on what he could be doing. And he goes up there to play against Watanuki, and the leaves clear. And it's just such a good moment. As he words it, the maple tree rises, as he realizes that he doesn't need to use his brother's style, he needs to use his own style that is defensive, that was able to counter his brother's offensive strategy. And man, this one really resonated with me. It was really good. And by the end, he's asking her to train him. And, he's realized that she taught him something, or helped him see something that nobody else could. That his own way is just as good, and that he's captivated by her, and he likes her, so they promise together to do their best. You also find out that, she wants to use him to try and regain some of that passion for shogi that she had when she was studying under Sakura, his older brother, and it just, the relationship between these characters, and how complicated all of their emotions are, and how everything rolls in together was beautiful, and I loved it. Cherry Blossom Falls, Maple Rises was a great chapter of manga, and will definitely come up again when we talk about my top 10 chapters of the year. Because, oh my gosh, it was great. After that, we have The Promised Neverland 86, Firepower. We get to see Ray and the Nameless Man be awesome. Well, really, the Nameless Man does most of the work, but, she mentions Lucas. And the Nameless Man immediately is just he needs to know if that's his Lucas or not. But he's piecing together, and we get to see the way his mind works. As he's piecing together all of the information about how long they've been planning this, where it is, that name, it has to be the Lucas he knows. So he decides to go and take out Nos. And Nos makes a comment that he wants to kill them while Noma is still inside him. So, again, does that mean that when the demons eat another demon, for a brief period of time, their consciousnesses are joined? Because that's what it seems like. Especially when you have either Nos is crazy or Noma is legit talking to him. when we get to see from his perspective. Regardless, the Nameless Man hides his killing intent, everything he is, and takes a shot, killing Nos. He then asks about Emma, of course, and we get to cut to Luvis and Emma, and Luvis telling her that none of her friends have arrived, and Emma just shooting back, none of yours have either. And we get to see Luvis actually, kind of sad that Bayan is gone. They've been friends for a long time, and he remarks that Bayan got his wish at the end, for a true hunt. And then suddenly he's behind Emma, and counts down the seconds. So next chapter will probably begin Luvis versus Emma. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a tough fight, but I'm very excited for it. After that, we have One Piece 904, introducing the Revolutionary Army captains. Okay. Alright. Highlights of this chapter, because it was good. Ivankov is proud of both Luffy and Sanji. The Germa have been kicked out of the world government. Sabo was grinning at Luffy's article in the paper so long he cramped his cheeks. They're preparing to declare war on the Tenryubito, on the Celestial Dragons. Okay. Alright. And then we get to meet Morley, Betty, Lindbergh, and Karasu. After all these years, I would think that it would be hard for Oda to just keep throwing new characters out there that are amazing, and for me to immediately just fall in love with characters. But oh boy. Morley, and the way that he talks like a shy schoolgirl, with his deep voice, and his cool ability to go through the ground and crawl back up again. Betty and her super cool ability to power up those around her, and her no nonsense, get out of my way, but good job still attitude. Lindbergh and how he's basically like Rocket Raccoon, except not as mouthy, jumping around getting excited to do science, flying through the air with the backpack, jetpack thing. And then Karasu, who is just this bald guy who barely talks because he forgets to turn on his voice amplifier, so he's just mumbling all the time. Oh man, these characters are good. These characters are really good. And again, we don't know that much about them yet, but I still like all four of them immediately. Hey buddy, how's it going? Immediately they won me over. So yeah, this was a really fun chapter. Just all these weird powers they have too. Betty's power is super cool. And then, Lindbergh, he can shoot different ammo types, so he's kind of just changing out his attacks based on what the situation requires, which is really cool. And then Karasu can just launch out crows. Sure. Okay, Karasu means crow anyway, so it's fine. I just thought that was really cool. Also, we got to see Peachbeard, one of Blackbeard's men. It's clear that Blackbeard is not as selective with his people as some of the other Yonko are. Or Goko. But, yeah, this was a really fun chapter. Really good. Next up is Food Wars 262, Song of Hope. We can see the gifting trigger. And people all over the arena are, of course, getting undressed, just as we expected. We even get to see it hit Rindo. And Azami tries to deny the dish again. And Hisako steps up to defend Arena, declaring herself her friend. Please stop clawing me, thank you. We also get to see, of course, the gifting continue to spread, even as Azami is just basically telling them, no, there's no way, there's no way. There's also this super cool moment where Azami turns to Tsukasa, expecting Tsukasa to back him up, and Tsukasa looks really uncertain, like he's been swayed, and he doesn't know how to tell Azami that. And then finally Soma asks him the million-dollar question, to stop telling people what they're supposed to think happiness is, and tells him his dad was happy when he met his mom. We get to see both Nakaris react to this. Arina with surprised, though not unhappy look, and Azami in just straight anger. We also get to see the gifting then hit Tsukasa, and then Azami himself. Soma and Arina and the entire, resistance is crowned the winners, even as Soma tells Arina to finish the job, She's already swiped a ton from him anyway, after all. She smiles again, pulls out her hairband, and uses Sona's, "Would you stop, sir? I'm trying to read." And uses Soma's trademark line, "Happy to serve." It's a really fun chapter. I liked it a lot. I especially liked seeing Azami unravel. Especially once Soma, basically just told him off, "Stop clawing me." That was a really fun moment for me. I thought it was probably the highlight of this chapter, of just Azami throwing a conniption fit. The only thing that I think might be better than that is when he turns to Tsukasa, expecting support, and Tsukasa's just like, "No." So yeah, this was a really fun chapter. We've almost reached the end of this arc, it feels like. And although it was really long, I think it was definitely worth it. I think this arc was needed. I kind of hope the story doesn't just end soon, though it could. It very well could. We've just about reached an ending point. But, I like these characters. I'd like to spend a little bit more time with them. After that, we have Robot Laserbeam 56, Robo 200%. We get to see a pretty tricky course with a dipped hill in the middle of it. Ginro makes a perfect shot, and Robo, of course, can replicate it. We get a really fun moment where Robo's ball hits Ginro's, and Suzaku reminisces on that happening before. And Ginro's noticed that something's not quite right. But, the match keeps going. Robo just walks up and hits. And Suzaku comments on Robo's most dangerous aspect, that he doesn't have a limit. He doesn't limit himself on how much he can focus. Obviously we know there are times where he, goes 100% laser or whatever, but Robo has uncapped his focus. He doesn't know his limit, so he can evolve explosively. But Tomoya knows this is a dangerous thing. Robo could pass out if this keeps going on. And that's when Ginro realizes that feeling he's feeling is fear. And that makes him even more excited. I think this is fine. I'm not super down on the whole, Robo can focus as much as he wants and get stronger thing. But at the same time, there's definitely going to be ramifications for that, so I think it's fine. If there are no ramifications, then it's a whole different story. But it looks like Robo could pass out at any second right now, so, it's fine. After that, we have Dr. Stone 57, Heat Heart. We get to see everybody super excited over the glowing stones. And, the old chief thinks that they're going to throw them at Tsukasa for their weapons. And they decide, they've got to extract the tungsten and Magma to begin smashing them. Immediately. Unprompted. Good old Magma. They decide they need to heat up the tungsten, but because of the way that heat works, tungsten takes a lot more heat to melt than, or to make malleable, than the glass that it would be put in, so it can't work the regular way. Chrome and Senku decide to split the work, as the two lead scientists, and Kiseki tells them he wishes he had a crafting pal, like they do. Chrome tells him he already does. Them. He asks about, he's so much older than they are. And they ask what age has to do with it. We get a beautiful panel of Kiseki crying before he sets to work with Chrome. Senku takes Gin, and they both set to work. What we wind up getting in the end with the whole heating system is really cool, using the cotton candy machine to get going with it. Thank you, sir, for your claws. And with everybody teaming up together, they succeed. And they're able to make the tungsten malleable where they can heat it and get it to work for them. Stop clawing me. It was a really fun chapter. I think that moment of Kiseki crying is probably the standout moment for me. But, it was still a lot of fun. They now have their cell phones on the way as they begin to win this war of telecommunication. Next up, we have My Hero Academia 182, Let It Flow, School Festival. We see Deku getting cleaned up as we flashback, and there are a lot of people in the auditorium just to criticize the performance. Bakugo starts everything off with a giant explosion, which is perfect, as the music kicks in and the dancing begins. So one thing I haven't mentioned this week is that because of Golden Week, there were a lot of unfinished panels. I think they are the most noticeable in 182 of My Hero Academia this week, but because it's a concert, and a lot of it is very fast-moving anyway, I think that it is forgivable, I would say, especially because, you can't help it with Golden Week. They got to crank out 2 chapters in the time it would take to put out 1, basically. But I will say that it was very noticeable, and I'm looking forward to the re-release versions in the Tenkabon volumes for this chapter, because it was a little rough at times. However, with all that said, it was still a great chapter. We get to see, Tsuyu remembering that Deku had told her and Ochiko that Eri was going to be there and getting excited about that. And we get to see Deku and Aoyama in perfect sync as he throws him up in the air to be the disco ball. And we really get to see everybody getting to go all out. The lighting team, the backup team, the dancing team, the band, as they're using the quirks to make audience members float, to have mid-air guitarists, Ida doing the robot. Everybody's going all out, and then we get to see Jiro just go wild with her song. And there's even a fun moment where Bakugo's like, and you told me not to add anything on my own. We get to see the crowd going wild. Their criticism gone. And Mirio holds up Eri and asks if Night Eye and Deku are watching. As we see the overbearing shadow of Overhaul just melt away from around her. As she throws up her hands and smiles. Mirio cries, even as they both cheer together. Such a good chapter. Just that moment of catharsis, of seeing Overhaul just vanish away, as the specter that Chisaki had been holding over Eri all this time just melts away, as she finally is able to just have fun. Really good. Really good chapter. After that, we have Black Clover 156, True Form, True Power. Seeing the two elves lose wakes Licht up, and when Licht goes for the sword, Nero starts pecking Asta as if to tell him it's very dangerous and he needs to move. Licht suddenly is in front of Asta. He didn't teleport, he just is, as if his control of Mana Zone allows him to just move within the mana with no restraint. And since both of them sailing with a series of slashes, we get to see Licht doing exactly as Asta does and absorbing spells into his sword and sending them back. And Yuno sends another one from above, as Raya thinks how impressive Yuno has become. He'd expect nothing less from Licht's ... son, child, definitely. Basically confirms the theory. But we switch to Yuno's thoughts, as Licht goes for the killing blow, and there's this really cool moment where Licht is clearly going for what will be the kill. Yuno is falling back, and then his first thought is, and this is when Asta dives in. And this is when Asta dives in a surprise counter. And it's just, the trust these two characters have for each other is really, really powerful. It's really good. After that, we have We Neverland 62, A Best Friend Illustrates X for a Genius. This is a Sekijo chapter, and it's a good Sekijo chapter, as she offers to help Ogata shop for a new pen case. And, there's a lot of really fun moments of, Sekijo wearing really trendy clothes because she wants Ogata to be able to have fun and to look good while she's taking Ogata out to have fun. Because remember that Sekijo, despite being Ogata's best friend, has barely spent any real time with her, and they don't hang out. Sekijo doesn't really have friends other than Ogata. She's got a whole day planned out. It's almost like a date for her. She's got everything timed to within 5-minute windows of the perfect day for her and Ogata. But when she sees Yuiga, since she knows that Ogata has a crush on Yuiga, she crushes her plans. She balls it up and asks Yuiga to help Ogata and runs away. And if there was ever any doubt that Sekijo legitimately cares for Ogata, this chapter destroyed that doubt. Because she is probably the best friend that Ogata could ever ask for. And you get to this moment where Yuiga goes after her. Because Yuiga recognized from her Twitter feed, as we find out at the end of the chapter, how much Sekijo was looking forward to this. And Yuiga can't just let that go, So he goes after her. And she's stopped at a crane machine. And we get to see a flashback to her being treated really poorly for how smart she is. Everybody hating on her and being mad at her. And we see Ogata, who was disliked for the same reason, just basically going, so what? And that motivated Sekijo. That made her want to go to the same school as Ogata, to be friends with her, to have somebody that can understand her. And so Yuiga, asks her, wasn't she looking forward to this? And when she tries to deny it, he shows her that Twitter feed. And she unloads on him, just telling him how much she respects Ogata, and how much Ogata means to her, and that she changed her life. And of course, Sekijo has no idea that Ogata's right behind her. And so, Ogata thanks her, and then asks her to help her find a pin case. And Sekijo, tries to shy away from it, but Yuiga elbows her, and so she tells her the truth about the trip and everything and what it was all for and how much she appreciates her, even though Ogata heard most of it. So then Sekijo trips and falls and touches Ogata's boobs. And it was actually kind of refreshing to see a side character do it and not the main character in the harem. Because when the main character does it now, it's just like, of course he does. It's kind of refreshing to see a side character do it. And then, of course, the next day, Ogata has her new pin case from shopping with Sekijo. And Yuiga tries to figure out why Sekijo was going to leave him and Ogata alone together. This was a really fun chapter. I really, really liked it. I thought the highlight on Sekijo was really cool because we don't normally get that. And getting to see her, how she actually feels about Ogata and getting all that out in the open where they can now be openly friends instead of Sekijo just being like ballistic friend is amazing. Finally, for the lightning round, Momiji no Kisetsu 1, Cherry Blossom Falls, Maple Rises, 2 thumbs up. Absolutely no way it can't be. This is one of my top 10 chapters of the year already, unless something dethrones it. Absolutely amazing. Really liked this chapter. Definitely looking forward to more of the series. The Promised Neverland 86, Firepower, really, really good. Getting to see the Nameless Man just go all out, hide his presence, and shoot nose, because he's like, I don't have time for this. I gotta go find Lucas. It's great. One Piece 904, introducing the Revolutionary Army captains, 2 thumbs up. These characters are great. These characters are great. These characters are great. I love it. Food Wars 262, Song of Hope, 2 thumbs up. Who are you to tell us how to enjoy our happiness? Who are you to tell us how to be happy, basically? And then that look, man, that look to Tsukasa, and Tsukasa just being like, such a good chapter. Robot Laserbeam 56, Robo 200%. I'm going to give this one a flat even, because I want to see how everything turns out. But if I was just to judge this chapter on its own, it was fine. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't terrible. It was fine. Dr. Stone 57, Heat Heart. I almost said Heart Heat. It's a different thing. Give me your Heart Heat. Heat Heart. Fun chapter. I liked it. It wasn't like blowing me away, but that panel of Kiseki crying was amazing. And then getting to see everybody come together was really cool. So, it was fun. My Hero Academia 182 Let It Flow School Festival, 2 thumbs up. Would have been 2 thumbs up if the whole chapter was just that moment with Mirio and Eri at the end. But the concert was really cool as well. So 2 thumbs up for sure. You also really liked it, huh? That's cool. I'm glad. Black Clover 156 True Form to True Power was fun. It was a fine chapter. I loved Asta jumping in there at the end. Other than that, it wasn't like super great. But Asta jumping in there at the end was amazing. It's a good chapter. And then We Never Learned 62, A Best Friend Illustrates X for a Genius. 1 thumb up. It's a really fun Sekijo chapter. Really enjoyed it. Really glad to see, her backstory and what's going on with that. Looking forward to see how things continue to go forward now that Sekijo will be a little bit more important to Ogata and maybe be a little bit more important to the story. But all told, I have been Trey. This has been The Full Spectrum. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode of Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum the Jump has to offer. And this is Simba, by the way, since I forgot to say that.